Hello, everybody. It's time for our February giveaway. We have 3 stacks of cards we're giving away. I asked you to enter a comment in this video, which is now not loading. The comments by 8 o'clock today, which is right now exactly. Here's your comments. I asked you to ask me a question to basically as your entry. This might take a while. Some questions will be short, some will be longer. I may kind of go fast through some. Please don't feel disrespected. But this could be a 40-minute video easy because I just talk forever. So, 25 Perez. So first off, the first comment is actually my free spot that I needed to give to somebody because I messed this up last month. So 25 Perez asked, what's your most valuable TTM you ever got back? And have you gotten Don Mattingly TTM? I actually don't know my most valuable TTM. I've got some really great ones. Usually it's like the Hall of Famers or people that will be a Hall of Fame. Like I got Jim Thome a long time ago, long before he was retired. And I ended up getting that one slabbed, and I imagine that one's like pretty valuable because he doesn't sign a lot, but just stuff like that. I have got Don Mattingly right after he started managing. I think I got him care of the Dodgers, probably whatever, I don't know, 10 years ago, or it was like his first or second year as a manager. He was a little bit spotty, and I was able to get him through spring training, so I was happy to do that. Augie N, what is the return that took the longest? How long was it? My longest return ever was Brent Nackert, who pitched for the Mariners, and I don't think anybody else. It was a 91 Donruss, and it was a little over 7 years. Scott at Reindeer Studios has a trivia question. Who is the only Mariner to throw an immaculate inning? For those of you that don't know, an immaculate inning is a pitcher striking out the side on 9 consecutive strikes. I have no clue. I'm just going to throw out a name here. Mark Langston. I'm sure it's wrong. Cool Plastics says nice 70s cards. His favorite player is Dwight Gooden. How many batters did he strike out his rookie year? It's still a record for most strikeouts by a rookie. Oh boy, I'm guessing. Let's go with 272. Cool Plastics. By the way, Cool Plastics, just quick channel shout out here. He's fairly new to TTMing, a little over a year, I think. But he gets lots of cool 60s and 70s and vintage stuff in. If you haven't discovered his channel yet, go check it out. You can just go to this video and click on his name there and go to it. So Michael Myers says, yeah, Broberg signed over his facsimile auto. Still looks a little, I'm still not a big fan of those. But here's a question that could take a while. How do I feel about how Manfred's doing? Oh boy. I'm in the minority. I actually think his handling of the Astros cheating scandal was okay. Mostly because the players' union forced him to give immunity to those players so he could get the full story. We would not know to be so upset that players didn't get disciplined if they didn't cut that deal. And what's funny is all these other players are upset with players not being disciplined when it's their union that made it possible. Anyway, for the Astros cheating scandal, I'm going to give him a B. For overall, I'm going to give him a C-. And if he pushes through this minor league contraction that's going to cost me my team, I'm sticking him right down to F. So he's on pretty thin ice. David Disbro says, as a Mariners fan, who is your favorite Mariner of all time and your favorite current Mariner? Very hard to answer because I love Griffey and Ichiro and all these guys, of course. But my very first Mariners hero was Alvin Davis. I've got to meet him, and I have to say Alvin Davis. But There's so many other players that I like. It's almost not fair, but let's go with that one. Collectorholic, are you going to buy any Heritage? Yeah, I'm going to buy. I have enough money earmarked for one blaster, and that'll probably be it. I'm really happy they've put Snell and Lau in Heritage, even though they skipped those players for Flagship. And Kyle Lewis is in it, so I'll be looking to get those. Probably won't go too nuts because, again, we're going to have the facsimile autograph, and those just aren't good for TTMing. And mostly why I buy retail is to get TTM fuel. So I'll get the one blaster. Maybe you guys will see that on Wednesday. How long have you been doing TTM, and what's the oldest card you've got back? So I've been doing TTM about 15 years, and I just pulled the card. It's this 56 Topps Bill Rinna. Got that about 2 years before he passed away. And that's the oldest one I've got back. Oh, we're only up to 6 minutes on our video. We're doing pretty good. Let's see. Did I skip anybody? Okay, Boom Slang. What inspired you to do TTM? How do you know that the cards you're getting back are really signed by the player? Good question. So I used to be a part of an online community called The Bench Trading. And there was a section in there for TTMing. And at the time, I wasn't doing it at all. And I was just, general collecting. And I started hanging out in there and seeing what the successes were. And it reminded me of when I TTM'd as a child, which is another topic for another day. And I just saw, hey, I have a card of this guy. I have a card of Clem Labine. Let me just throw it in the mail. And, it comes back. And then I just got hooked. And it's been about 15 years. I think that might be another question here. But how do I know that they're really signed by the player? Generally speaking, I'm sitting to players that have a good history of having consistent autographs. You never really know unless you're there watching them sign, but that's true of anything. And because of the community, mostly because sportscollectors.net, which is what I use for addresses, that question comes up later. Basically, the community is so knowledgeable. It becomes known that when what I'm trying to say. Here's a good example. So Chili Davis started returning cards after a few months of not sending them back right after the season ended. And people were like, this looks a little different than his other stuff. So immediately there's this buzz in the community in sportscollectors.net and the forums. And it just got figured out that he started having a ghost signer. So it's just basically through stuff like that. And there's no way to know, but that's true even if it's certified. Unless you watch somebody sign something, you don't know. But you take it on faith and you do your homework, and that's all you can do. Megan TT Hobbies, what sets are you working on to complete signed? So there are several sets that I try to get everything I can of. And there's one set that I am actually going to finish. Like, the goal is completion. So for sets that I try to get everything of, you got 64 Topps, 73 Topps. I'm going to start spacing out. 91 Topps Stadium Club. We got, I'm looking at my binders up here. 76 Topps, 81 Topps. A lot of vintagey type top stuff. And the one that the goal is to complete it is the 2015 Bowman draft, which I know you're into the Bowman drafts, and I'm just a couple cards away, and you guys have seen me updating that. I think I'm down to 4 or 5, and I have 1 or 2 incoming, so getting very close. And after I finish that one, I'll probably do Bowman draft again in 2020. Maybe I'll do it every 6 years or something. So TTM Hog 15. What is your single best baseball related memory? Well, that one's easy. Roll the video footage.
Love a base hit into the gap, and they could win it with Junior speed to stretch. And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on the line, down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior at third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my. Edgar Martinez with a double. Ripped down the left field line, and they are going crazy at the Kingdome.
Okay, so yeah, that's my first, my greatest memory, and whatever's in second is a distant second. Just as a Mariners fan, that's the answer, and that's the same answer everyone's going to have. And watching that clip every once in a while really makes me miss Dave Niehaus. And that might be my biggest regret, even though the question's not in here, is not sending him a ball when I could. I do have him on a flat, but I would have loved to have gotten a ball, and I just put it off, and eventually it was too late. Who is this? It just says name. That was weird. Okay, name. Best TTM return ever. And it said, it's good to see other people's best returns. So my best return was probably Ernie Banks, about 2 years before he passed. And unfortunately, this is a long story, but I don't have the card anymore. I wished I did, but I don't. And we'll save that story for another day. What's the most returns you've ever gotten back in one day? Several times I've gotten right around 7 or 8 back in a day. I don't think I've ever gotten higher than that, but that's always a blast. Who surprised you most by returning a TTM request signed? Probably going back to that Ernie Banks again, or maybe Clayton Kershaw, CC Sabathia. Those are the ones that pop into my head. What was the first set you hand collated? Has to be 87 Tops. That's when I started collecting. Had a little money, had a job as a 13-year-old. And I bet I opened 15 boxes of 87 Tops. So that has to be it. Have you ever had a player inscribe a card with their nickname? Yeah, I love nicknames. And I actually pulled, here we go. Here's one right here. Steve Psycho Lyons. Thought that one was a lot of fun. Okay, where are we at here? Blair. I'll throw my name in. Oh, does it bother you? How do you feel about Canadian Blue Jays fans coming to Seattle when Toronto visits? Well, it's a little frustrating to see that many of a visiting team being that noisy and boisterous in your park. But really, that's on Mariners fans and on the Mariners. Blue Jays fans aren't doing anything wrong. If the team was better and it really bothered people that much, they would go out and buy the tickets before Blue Jays fans could. What is the best site for good addresses for TTMs? Sportscollectors.net. That's what I use exclusively. It's not even close. There's no other. It's the gold standard. It's the site you want if you want to do TTMing correctly. It's $15 a year. I would pay $15 a month. Please don't tell Jay Gross, but I would. I make my money back in not sitting to bad addresses. I take advantage of the forums. I add to my collection that way more than I could any other way. So sportscollectors.net, easiest question in here. What year is your favorite baseball card set? So that gets asked later as well. And if I have to pick one, it's the 56 Tops. Even though, and I showed you that Bill Renna earlier, I don't have a 56 Tops collection, which is so weird. But it's just the first vintage set I remember seeing regularly, I think because my brother had a couple cards. And I just really liked it and always have and always will. and it's a great set. Okay, and Alan asked me about Grateful Dead American Beauty album. I mentioned that I had it after I showed up my record collection. And my favorite track off that is Sugar Magnolia. And that is just my all-time favorite kind of chill tune. Just nice and just a great track. Favorite non-sports movie, Tony Black. That is Shawshank Redemption. Brandon Stebbins, I hope it's not too personal. What got you into teaching? Basically, I was in IT before I was a teacher, and I got a job at a Boys and Girls Club. And half the job was taking care of staff and their tech needs, whatever, their hard drive explodes, their email stops working, whatever. And the other half the job was working with the kids when they got to the club after school. And that was the part I enjoyed the most. So after it got time to move on from the Boys and Girls Club, that's basically what got me into teaching. And I just decided I wanted to keep doing that rather than tech stuff, which I didn't really care for. Who is in the knuckleball photo in your background? And Chasing Ink's hoping to get the 75 Broberg. So I don't know. What do you mean? Who's on the thing in the background? There's no autographs on that. I think you're losing your mind. Oh, wait a minute. You mean this? All right. I was playing with you. So on the top left, we have Eddie Fisher. On the top right, Wilbur Wood. On the bottom right, Charlie Huff. And in the middle, Phil Necro. And I wouldn't mind adding a few more on here. But I'm not about to float this in the mail anymore for guys that aren't like locks as far as signing goes, which these four were. But, Tim Wakefield would be a great addition, but he doesn't sign TTM, so I'm not sticking that thing in the mail on the off chance that I'm going to get it. So if you did not collect baseball autographs, what would you collect? I would probably spend more money on my records and get nicer, like first edition kind of stuff rather than junkers. Sport Card Collector 959 just basically said he's here for support, and I'll go check out your channel and your John Madden. I haven't watched the video yet. What was your best and worst returns? Probably just, again, going back to that Ernie Banks is probably one of my best returns. It wasn't on a player error card. It was like a swell or one of those Pacific Greats or something. And worst, I don't know. I've had a lot that came back so smeared that you couldn't even read them. And I guess those are the worst because it's like, hey, I got something. And then it's like, oh, it's junk. And they just had to go straight to the garbage. So, and then Poor Man Stack said, we've heard about your many favorite year cards. What is your one true favorite? So I answered that earlier. 56 Tops. Again, I don't have a 56 Tops collection. I have like half a dozen maybe, which is strange, but it's just one of those things I never got around to, and now they're pretty expensive. I spend my money elsewhere. So let me get set up to get this. We are going to go with the I don't even have it up anymore. We're going to go with the comment picker. So let me get the page pulled up and I'll get right back to it. Okay, I got it now. So I've put in the URL link. I've got the comments here, and when we're ready, we'll hit start. So the first lot, we'll call this Mitterwald lot. That is the 76 Mitterwald, Opeachy Obando, the 75 Broberg. Someone's got their eye on that. And here's a Jay Howell, which you saw me get yesterday. And here we go. Chris Graff's 101. He's the one that asked me what would I collect if I didn't collect autographs. Okay, Corbin lot, 72 Corbin. 79 Kirkwood. 89 score Meacham. And Jay Howell. The Upper Deck 90 Upper Deck. And as always, I might, add cards here and there. Kind of fill things out. Here we go. Blair Sullivan. You're the one that asked about the Blue Jays. Okay. If I can reach this lot without knocking my camera over, would be ideal. That is a 76, one of my favorite sets. Skip Lockwood. 87 Topps, Bobby Meacham. Here's the Omar Quintanilla. Not a great graph, but I will make it worth your while, as always. Last winner of the day of the month. February is almost over. Baseball card collector. Asked me who inspired me to TTM. Okay, so my email address is below. You three people, guys, people, girls, I don't know. I don't know you personally. Shoot me an email, and in the email include your favorite team, and so I can kind of fatten these up a little bit. That's it for now. If you didn't make it through the whole thing, absolutely no hard feelings. I didn't know this was going to take this long. But that's it for now. We'll be back tomorrow. I have a couple things that came in today I set aside, so we'll definitely be doing a video tomorrow, including our first spring training return. And we'll see you then.